Welcome to my deep dive into the history of Deadpool action figures through the comics, where we're going to explore the evolution of the Merc with a mouth from his humble beginnings to his rise to becoming one of Marvel's top characters. Join us as we trace Deadpool's journey through the early years using his iconic action figures to showcase how a once overlooked character became a box office powerhouse. Hop on in the nostalgia cab with me. We got Dopinder driving, so this should be a good time because we are about to embark on a trip through Deadpool's transformation, one action figure at a time. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Matt, usually called Big Nerdy. Together, we are the Nerd World Order, and this is Nerdzoic. If this is our first time meeting, welcome to my bald, middle-aged, nerdy corner of the internet. I started this channel back during COVID, aka the dark times, to try to forget the world that was going on around me and was pretty much on fire, and instead focus on a nerdy hobby that I've been doing for years, collecting toys and talking about them. One thing led to another, and my wife and I ended up opening an online toy store, and now we're one of the biggest new action figure specialty retailers in the United States. So yeah, been a little bit crazy here. But it all started here on this channel before the store was even a twinkle in my eyes. With Deadpool 3 or Deadpool and Wolverine, whatever it's officially called, coming out like any day now, I thought it would be a fun time to look back on Deadpool's history, and I'm gonna do it the only way I know how, with toys and some toy history thrown in. Before Dopinder starts the nostalgia cab, I do want to do two quick shout outs for some of the inspirations for this video, and I learned quite a bit from both of these. First off, the late great Glenn Webb. He has a 3-part Deadpool Evolution series that's really cool. Unfortunately, because of his untimely passing, it doesn't show the last 7 or 8 years or so. Man, I miss that guy. He was really awesome. But also, Carbon Scoring, who is a friend of the channel, great guy. He does mystery boxes where it's totally different than the Nerdzoic mystery boxes. Those are for sale. These are just him fishing through a box of figures and kind of talking about them, and he had so much cool information. I learned a ton from both of them. But that said, I do not have a degree in Deadpool, so if I get anything wrong, specifically in the comics, please don't feel bad, just let me know. Fact check me down in the comments below. Deadpool first appeared in New Mutants number 98 in 1990 and was created by Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza. Deadpool was initially a villain, and he was like a playful homage to DC's Deathstroke. The character's design and his dialogue was created to have a very similar feel to him, and it's even kind of named after him because Deathstroke is Slade Wilson, Deadpool is Wade Wilson, get it? Liefeld also claims inspiration from other characters as well, like he's a well-known Spider-Man fanatic, so there's some Spider-Man inspiration in the coloring of the design, as well as the, we'll call it smart aleck nature of Deadpool. I've also read that both Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe and Wolverine are other inspirations for this character, so yeah, Deadpool's like a mashup of everybody, including the guy from Two Guys in a Pizza Place. Wait, there was a girl too? Oh. Deadpool was created during the peak of X-Men popularity. We were about to get the X-Men cartoon. We got the Chris Claremont X-Men run that was just legendary and still is considered legendary. So appearing in an X-book meant that he had a chance to become a pretty major player in the Marvel Universe. Following his initial debut, he appeared in a few more issues of New Mutants before that was rebranded as X-Force. Which brings us to, Funaki, can you help me here? Deadpool figure number 1. Which brings us to his first figure. In 1992, Toy Biz released the X-Force carded Deadpool. This was the first body used on Deadpool, which was probably a bit too skinny, but otherwise pretty true to the comic. His hand came with a retractable knife hand thing that retracted into his arm when he wasn't using it, which makes me think that guy who designed this toy saw the movie Taxi way too many times.
I say, Mom, shut up.
No, not Taxi, I meant Taxi Driver with Robert De Niro.
You talking to me?
The mid-90s represented what I like to call the serious era of Deadpool. If you can even call it serious. He wasn't that serious, but compared to the fourth wall breaking, wisecracking Deadpool of today, it's a bit more serious of a character then. In 1993, he got his first solo miniseries, The Circle Chase, which delved deeper into his backstory and was the first time we saw him unmasked, which was in issue number 2. In 1995, we got another Deadpool figure, which was the same exact body, but it added some buckles and it came with a mask that actually came off. It was branded as a mutagenic hidden nightmare. In 1994 came the miniseries Deadpool, Sins of the Past by Mark Waid, and this dived more into his relationships and his moral complexities, which doesn't really sound like Deadpool at all, but again, this is the serious era. Now, during this time, we had 2 more Deadpools released. In 96, we got the Marvel Hall of Fame Deadpool, which was on, again, that first body, but it had the cool looking Marvel Hall of Fame card. I do believe these were exclusive to KB back in the time, if I'm not mistaken. Someone can let me know in the comments. It came with a Fleer card, so this is kind of peak junk wax card era, so they gotta use the card machines for something. But what is with the choker? Is this like a kink-friendly Deadpool? I don't know. Despite the more serious tone of the Sins of the Past miniseries and the Circle Chase, Deadpool was popular. People liked him, they wanted more, so this led to him getting his first ongoing series, and that came in 1997, and it's what I like to call the Joe Kelly era. It was during this time period and this run by Joe Kelly that we would see Deadpool's character evolve more into the Deadpool that we know today. There were seeds of this planted in the miniseries and as well as in the Circle Chase. This is probably where we saw the most of the modern Deadpool start to become evolved into during this era. We started to get more of the weird humor, the irrelevance, more of the fourth wall breaking times-ish. I don't know how you explain it because English is hard. Anyway, this made him way different than the more serious Deathstroke. Now he was just silly, kinda, but not at the same time. His toys kept coming out because that's what Toy Biz did in the 90s. We got an unmasked Deadpool on a Marvel Universe card, and this came with what's called Deadpool Body 2. And this one's all jacked up. This probably should have been an early 90s Deadpool. Can't help myself for a good wrestling and steroids joke. In 97, we got the same exact unmasked Deadpool, but this time there was a silver wash on his straps, and we went back to the Hall of Fame card. Also, sometime during this 90s era, they came out with a bunch of 10-inch Deadpool figures, but they were basically the same exact things as the, whatever, 4, 5, 6-inch, whatever we're calling those, just blown up. As they say, all good things come to an end, and in 2002, the Joe Kelly era ended with issue number 69. That, in and of itself, seems like a Deadpool joke. What is not a joke, though, is that the series ended with the apparent death of Deadpool at the hands of Black Swan in an explosion. And this sadly led to a hiatus. It was a dark time again because we had no Deadpool. But if you know anything about comic books, nobody stays dead except for Uncle Ben and Bucky Barnes. So we know Deadpool's coming back. What? Bucky came back too? It only took him 50 years. We ended up going for a period of 2 full years of no Deadpool in the comic book. So it was, again, a dark time. We gotta get a dark times calculator going. This was also the time when Toy Biz was like, hey, we're not gonna make some Marvel toys for a couple of years and we're gonna change things up. That means that 1997's Deadpool was the last Deadpool before his death and the last Deadpool before the modern Deadpool started. Deadpool returned to publication in 2004 under his original writer, Fabian Niciezi. Why? I can't find my phonetic spelling, people. Anyway, he teamed up with his former enemy, Cable, and we got Deadpool and Cable. This was actually a revolutionary time in action figures too. You see, towards the end of the late 90s, early 2000s, Toy Biz started to focus more on adult collectors and less on kids. This started with the Spider-Man Legends line that eventually became the Marvel Legends line that we know today. And with the shift came a big change in how the figures were made. We started getting a bigger focus on articulation and quality at a higher price. This also meant that gone are the days where anybody who gets like a 2-second glimpse in a comic gets a figure. Those days are gone. But it was worth it because we got such a better quality action figure. It was truly revolutionary. 2002, Toy Biz made the first modern Deadpool as part of Series 6. At the time, this was really hard to find, and for the following decade, it was really hard to get your hands on unless you went on to eBay and paid some stupid money for it. This figure came with Dupe, who is a Slimer-looking obscure alien character from the X-Force corner of the 616. Anyway, this Deadpool figure can be looked at as like a revolution in Deadpool figures. I can't emphasize enough how important of a figure this was in both toy history and Deadpool history. Going back to the comics, Deadpool and Cable ran for 4 years until it ended at issue 50 in 2008. Later in 2008, he appeared in the Wolverine's Origins comic, which gave way to the horrendous Wolverine Origins movie. It was a train wreck.
Oh, that's funny. You're still so funny, Logan.
Except the Blob. He was pretty cool. There was a lot of people at the time who thought that the lips sewed shut Ryan Reynolds version of Deadpool would have killed the character, but that obviously proved not to be true. At this time, Hasbro had recently acquired the toy license from Toy Biz, so they started doing more figures, and we got a lot of 3.75 Deadpools, because this was at a time where Hasbro didn't know. Do we want to do 3.75? Do we want to be 6-inch? We don't know. One of the things that probably helped Deadpool survive this era is the fact that Daniel Ray later that year began Volume 2 of Deadpool Solo Series. During this time period, he loses his healing factor for a while, and he spends a lot of time with Hydra Bob, which is part of the inspiration from the 2023 Hydra Bob Deadpool 2-pack. Deadpool also spent a bunch of time with Taskmaster during this time period trying to steal Pym particles, which also led to a 2-pack, except it was in the 3.75 Marvel Universe. And again, Hasbro, do we do 3.75? Do we do 6-inch? We don't know. It's like a trend. Now, this version of Deadpool was actually based on Deadpool and Cable number 36. Also around this time, we got a 3-issue arc with Hitmonkey, which led to, a few years later, the 2019 80th anniversary Hitmonkey and Deadpool 2-pack. So that one was late. Right around here is where I think we hit the Deadpool peak era before even the movies came out. I'm talking comic peak. Volume 2 of his solo series began as a Secret Invasion tie-in, which made it kind of important because it later led to Dark Reign and Siege, and he got to play a part in both of those. In 2009, he secured a second solo series. This one was called Deadpool, Merc with a Mouth. This was more of a silly series as we saw him team with Deadpool and Marvel Zombies. Later that year, because 2 aren't enough, we got a third Deadpool ongoing series. This was a team-up that saw him team with different members of the Marvel Universe, including Hercules and Uncanny X-Force. Nope, that's not the right Hercules either. Hey, there we go, that's the right Hercules. On top of all the other Deadpool imprint, we also got some Marvel Knights Deadpool and a Max imprinted Deadpool around this time as well. There was a lot of Deadpool, like Deadpool was everywhere. The toys around this time focused largely on his team-ups. First, we got the Deadpool Warpath 2-pack, and there was 2 versions of this, a blue, I believe, and a red, and this is based on the Bullseye body, so it wasn't even an original Deadpool body. I think they stole the Bullseye body from Toy Biz. Going back to the smaller scale, we got a 3-pack of X-Force in 2011 as well. Around this time, Diamond Select, aka Marvel Select, said no Marvel Legends? No problem, and they made their own version of Deadpool, and I actually really like this one. It was a typical Marvel Select, low articulation, great sculpt, scale. It's like the 7-inch Todd McFarlane scale that I don't love, so it does not fit in with other Marvel Legends, but it was a great looking figure. There was even an unmasked variant that was pretty much impossible to find. 2012 saw the return of Marvel Legends, even though it never left, with the Epic Heroes Deadpool. We got a red version and a gray X-Force version. This was like a transitional era for Marvel Legends. Like in The Sopranos, when Vito's son kind of goes like crazy goth kid for a while. Yeah, it was kind of like that. There was no BAF, there was a whole lot of variants, like they still hadn't hit their stride in the Marvel Legends line yet. In 2010, we got, hey look, another Deadpool series in Deadpool Corps. As if we didn't have enough Deadpool, let's get some alternate versions. And that's what we got in this book, including Headpool, Ladypool, and a bunch of other pools. Shock among shocks, that led to a multi-pack, the 375-inch Deadpool Corpse. Although we did later get 6-inch figures of Lady Deadpool, she was part of the Sauron Build-A-Figure wave. We also eventually got a Deadpool Corpse 2-pack, well 3-pack I guess you would call it. It was part of the Ultimate Rider series. It came with Deadpool, a Scooter, Dogpool, and Squirrelpool. Again, a little wacky. This was so popular though that it even got a rerun now as I filmed this in 2024. 2012 saw Marvel do a relaunch called Marvel Now. This was a soft relaunch. It wasn't a hard one, but they needed to compete with DC's New 52, who relaunched their entire universe. During this time, Deadpool married 𝐒𝐿a, Queen of the Undead. I believe we got to figure her in 2020. I think she was part of the Strong Guy Build-A-Figure wave, but someone can fact check me there because I don't have the info in front of me. During this time period, we also saw Deadpool don a blue and yellow costume in Deadpool number 27, which is what the 2014 Infinite Series 375 Blue Deadpool is based on. Then in 2015, we got all new, all different Marvel, which was the 2015 rebrand of Marvel. Again, but different. While not an official rebrand, Hasbro did make a pretty obvious shift in focus around this time as well. Because during this time, they really shift their execution from not even caring about the 375 Marvel Universe to really focusing on the future. 6-inch. All new, all different Marvel took place after the restoration of Earth following the event of Secret Wars by Jonathan Hickman. Amazing series if you haven't read it. And a second Deadpool series in Gauntlet. So, lots of Deadpool. These books contained the Merc for Money storyline that brought us the Deadpool Rainbow Squad, which was the 2018 Rainbow 5-pack of 3.75-inch Deadpools. So 375's not dead yet, it's just on life support. During this time period, he spends some time working with Steve Rogers and has even offered a spot in the Avengers Unity Squad. But that's not the real big news here. The big news is the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure Wave 2016 Marvel Legends Deadpool. In my opinion, to this day, the best Deadpool. Even though it's a little dated with some pins in the arms and legs, I still think it's the best one. It's the best unmasked head we've ever gotten. I love this thing. I don't own it because I'm not paying that much for it, but I really feel like they should just take this and modernize it and then take my money. In 2017, we got an exclusive Back in Black version of Deadpool, which is based on the also named Back in Black 2007 storyline that ran across multiple Spider-Man titles. We're getting into peak Deadpool toys here. 2017, we got an X-Force Deadpool that was a #HasCon exclusive, and that's based on his X-Force suit, obviously, which first appeared in Volume 3 of X-Force. Years later, we also got a Mafex version of that suit, by the way. Just throw that in there now. Speaking of Mafex, it was around this time that we started to get more premium type 6-inch figures, and that meant premium type Deadpool. These were at a higher price point and ended higher end collectors, and they included both domestic figures from companies like Mezco and imports from companies like Mafex, Figma, Figure Arts, and more, although the Figure Arts came later. 2019, we got the Mafex Deadpool. This is based on the Ed McGuinness design from when he was doing the Deadpool run with Joe Kelly. This one had a weird tip in the hood, which I never even noticed, to be honest, but now I can't stop thinking that it looks like a condom tip, but sorry. Thank you, Carbon Scoring, for pointing that out. Now I can't unsee it. In 2017, we got a Figma Deadpool, a Mezco Deadpool, which had multiple versions with the gray, an Amazing Yamaguchi Deadpool, which again, multiple versions, but that one's also been re-released a ton of times. In fact, there's a re-release coming in 2025. It's like 2.5, so they changed some things. I don't know, but you should probably pre-order that. But then something happened. Fox made a Deadpool movie. No one expected that much from it. It was a superhero movie rated R, which has historically not done super well. I think Spawn might have been the only one. But now, 2016 and 2018 saw Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2 hit the big screen to huge box office success. Now, you would think that Hasbro cashed in and made a bunch of figures here, but you would be wrong. Now, I'm assuming this is a contractual situation because at this time, this was just Fox putting out this Deadpool movie. No Disney involvement whatsoever. So that meant that Hasbro didn't really have the license, because the only thing we got for that movie was the Hot Toys Deadpool. And that was it. It was awesome, but most of us can't afford Hot Toys. After Disney bought Fox, we finally started getting some Deadpool movie figures. Even though Hasbro couldn't make no movie figures, no problem. How's this for irony? Deadpool is a complete smash at the box office. 2017 to 2020 was arguably the peak of Marvel Legends, as it corresponded with the peak of the MCU. During this time, we got a lot of Deadpool Marvel Legends, just again, no movie Marvel Legends. In fact, by the end of this era, one might even say that Deadpool fatigue was starting to set in, as he went from rarely released to being in every damn wave. In 2017, we got a 12-inch Deadpool. Yep, Hasbro tried 12-inch Marvel Legends once as a cheaper version of Hot Toys. No, it did not go well. 2018, we got the X-Men suited Deadpool from the Sauron wave. We also got Deadpool and Boxers from that wave, which is my second favorite Deadpool Marvel Legends. And it's actually based on issue number 64 from 2002. In 2018, during the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure wave, we got a new Deadpool, but again, not as good as the Juggernaut Deadpool. Also that year, Marvel Unlimited, which is the online comic subscription, had their own exclusive Deadpool figure, and this was the Terror Inc. Deadpool. He was purple, and he was exclusive for those members, which I was then, but I don't have one. I don't know what I did wrong. I think Hasbro was mad at me, but they didn't even know me yet. It's like they can see the future. 2019, we got a retro Deadpool, and this was based on the original, well, the card was based on the original. This had a very metallic blue shading to it, and it was very, very Liefeldy, is what we're going to call it. This figure was really popular. We got a rerun of it in 2021, and we're about to have a rerun hit stores this year in 2024.
Another one.
In 2020, we got something that I'll call Deadpool adjacent in Venompool. This is an alternate reality version of Deadpool, where Deadpool bonds with the Venom symbiote instead of Eddie Brock, and yeah, that's what we get. 2020, we got a new and improved blue suit Deadpool in the Strong Guy Build-A-Figure wave, and this was based on his 2008 appearance in the Messiah War storyline. In that same wave came the Pirate Deadpool. This was based on Deadpool Too Soon, a limited run in which we saw him take on a pirate role that began in issue 8. In 2020, we got a 2-pack with him and Negasonic Warhead. Next year, 2022, we got what I call the Dirty Deadpool. And honestly, it's just a repaint from the first Deadpool so that we get one from part 2 without having to make a new one. 2022, Figure Arts did 2 different Deadpools, one for the first movie, one for the second movie. And then this year, 2024, we got a Deadpool Legacy figure, which is basically the same as the one from the 2-pack, with some minor cosmetic adjustments like pinless elbows. The Deadpool movies definitely brought more eyes to the comics, and because of this, his publication density has been bigger than it ever has the last 5 years, with numerous ongoings, team-ups, minis, and just a little bit of everything. I said it earlier, but I gotta say, on the toy front, we are overdue for a modern comic Deadpool with the current technology that we have in joints. Being he started in an X-book, I've always found Deadpool's encounters with the X-Men particularly fascinating, except for one particular movie, that is. Now, if I was to do like an X-Men history video, it would be much longer. But if you wanted to just like dive into X-Men comics and you have no clue where to start, check out this video, yeah. And remember, you gotta get old. You don't have to grow up. Just be cool and stay nerdy. Later.